So I think Apple is trolling us on this new seventh. Well, let me say new seventh generation iPod Touch. I think they're trolling us. See, back then, like when the iPhone first came out, the whole reason of getting an iPod Touch was simply because phone plans for iPhone were way too expensive. Unlimited didn't even exist, or even if it did exist at the moment, it was pretty much costing an arm and a leg. And plus, back then, even an iPhone 3GS on contract was like $300 down payment plus a 2-year contract. So it was really kind of expensive to own an iPhone back then, simply because it was kind of one of its kind, really. Now you don't even need a down payment to purchase a phone. You just go into your local carrier store, you pay the tax on that phone. Boom, you come out of the store, yeah, you got your phone, you're just paying monthly payments on it, but you're not paying that initial down payment. So back then, an iPod Touch made sense. You're still getting that world-class kind of experience, but you're not paying an arm and a leg for it. And really, it's the same thing, just no phones. You don't have any cell service, no phone app, and that's pretty much it. That's literally the only difference. But see, even back then, there was a service called Text Free. All you gotta do is go into the App Store, you download Text Free, it gave you your own number, and you can contact people via phone or messages from that number. Back then, iMessages didn't exist, and I don't even think WhatsApp even existed back then either. So it was pretty much the mix of WhatsApp and iMessage. So people just used Text Free like ever since iPod came out, or iPod Touch came out. So not having a cell service didn't really bother people, because as long as you got Wi-Fi, you can still communicate with friends and family. But let's talk about, what is the point in owning an iPod Touch now? Did they change the body? Nope. Did they change the screen size? Nope. What about the camera? They had to have changed the camera, right? Nope. Did they change literally anything except the CPU and gave access to more memory options? Nope. The only thing after 4 years, think about this, just think about this real quick. You're using a 4-year-old design, except now you got a better CPU and more memory options. That's it. Literally, no upgrade in RAM, nothing, nothing at all. So now for a cheap price of $200, you can get a measly 32 gigs and a Fusion A10 chip. Who cares? But I'm more interested in 32 gigs. After the system takes up its fair share of memory, you're left with like what? 27, 28 gigabytes left. But see, that's the thing. Apple doesn't want you to get the 32 gig. Obviously not. They want you to cough up $100 more for a total of $300 and get the 128 gigabyte model, or they want you to cough up another $100 for a total of $400 to get the sweet old 256 gigabyte option. Yep, you guys heard it right. $400 on a 4-year-old design, a 4-year-old camera, a 4-year-old thing. The only difference is Fusion A10 or A10 Fusion, whatever you want to call it. And what else? Oh, and the more memory options. Like that's it. That's literally it. So maybe you're saying, Mark, you're overthinking this a little bit. Maybe it's for kids. You never know. Maybe it's for kids. You know, you don't want to give them an iPhone, you give them an iPod Touch. Maybe. But let's think about this logically. If you're getting it for your kid, wouldn't you want to know where your kid is? For example, via Find My Friends app or Find My iPhone, whatever you use to track your kids with. Let's say your kid is walking home from school and he gets abducted by a weirdo in a van. Can he call you? Nope. Because you just bought him an iPod Touch for $400. Can you call him? No. Of course not. Can you track him via Find My Friends? No, because no cell service. Because it's an iPod Touch that you just got him for $400. You see where I'm getting at? You might as well go out and, for the same price, literally, get an iPhone 7, a used iPhone 7. Same chip, same 32 gigs of lame memory, and it'll be roughly the same price. Honestly, it will be the same price. But at least you have the option to get the kid maybe a prepaid SIM card, like a prepaid SIM. You stick it in there, you tell them, hey, this is only for phone calls, just so I know where you're at, nothing else. You can probably put a restriction. I think iPods and iPhones, they have like a restriction type of thing where you can't, do much of anything pretty much for like kids, I guess. You can do that. Get him a prepaid SIM. At least now you know where he's at, and now he can actually call you if he's getting abducted in a van. So I just think this whole iPod thing is listen, if they at least changed the design, if they added a camera from the iPhone XS, okay, fine, iPhone 10. If they made it, Face ID, in other words, if they made it a whole screen design with the notch, added Face ID, then I could probably see myself being like, okay, I get it. I understand why it's $400. But it's a 4-year-old design, man. That's insane. So clearly, Apple is targeting the innocent. I think. Again, this is not a fact. I think they're targeting the innocent. They're targeting the mothers, the fathers, the grandmothers, and the grandfathers, because those people might not know that much about what they can get for their hard-earned money. So they're going to go to Walmart or Target or Best Buy, Amazon, whatever. They're going to purchase little Timmy an iPhone or an iPod Touch 7th generation. I think that's mainly what Apple is doing, because there's no one in their right minds that is going to buy an iPod Touch. What can it do? Oh, whoa, the 7th gen iPod Touch can do VR. Who wants to do AR on a 4-inch screen? It's not even a 4.7 that the iPhone 7 has. It's the old model. Like, it's the step above the iPhone 3GS size screen. It's only 4 inches. You can hardly play games on that thing. So, listen, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Listen, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. What do you guys think? Who is Apple targeting this towards? Is it maybe schools? No, I don't think so. Because from my understanding, schools use MacBook Airs. I mean, even my high school, they gave us MacBook Airs senior year. Not for me, but the year I left, everyone in that year, or everyone in that school starting out, would get a MacBook Air to use up until the end of the year. And if they want to keep it, they pay it at the end. If not, they just return it. So I think schools are going to be using MacBook Airs, iPads, and or iPad minis maybe, overall stuff like that. I don't think a school is going to buy 7th generation iPod Touches. Again, maybe I'm wrong. So I want to know your guys' opinion on it. What do you guys think? I think it's ridiculous. So guys, as always, 10% off codes will be in the description below. This was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.